Welcome back to PGL Spring Tavern Tales. We are here at day 2 of the tournament. 3 matches left. We have the top 16 today. Scruffy versus Crane is the next match. But I'm sitting here with Tessin and Raven. Hello guys, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Enjoying the tournament so far.
Okay.
It's been really good. I'm looking forward to see who finishes up making it to top 8 tomorrow.
And for you?
I'm doing great. Looking really forward to see who's gonna win this game.
Mm-hmm.
It will
Okay. Do you like practice maybe with Crane or?
Yeah, like Crane is from Denmark, like me. Like I know him and I know his lineup and what he's bringing for this game. So
Okay, so you can get us an exact insight into his mind, if I
Yeah.
would say so.
for sure, like
Okay,
this
that's
game.
awesome. That's awesome because I always like to have someone on the couch that knows personally.
Knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's also true. But if someone knows personally a player, then he can bring something new to the table. Because we as casters might not be aware of certain things that
Yeah.
a person has in his game style, in his game plan, in his game style, in his style of playing. Right? Crane is known for playing warrior. We don't have anything about Scruffy, but hopefully we'll get to know him better during the video that we have prepared. So let's watch the videos.
My name is Simon Roundhorst and my gamer nick is Crane333. I'm 27 from Denmark and I'm pretty known for getting high ranks on Legend and for playing Patron Warrior.
I'm Pavel Scruffy Janík. I live in Czech Republic. I play for Team Fraternitas, which is a local team. We have a League of Legends section, a Hearthstone section and a Counter-Strike. This is my first bigger tournament, so I'm really excited and I made it to the top 16. It's awesome.
In the first match I had a few missteps, but I also had a lot of good decisions and good overall strategy. And then after that I played super well, some of the best that I've played in a while now. I've had a couple events where I had some missteps that I was unhappy about, but I think in this in the important matches, which was until I had 3-0 and was qualified, I played super good. And then, I mean, the last 2 matches didn't matter. I think I played also reasonably well, but I lost them. But as I said, it didn't matter. I knew I was qualified. And the top 16 is all.
It's not the first event I tried to qualify for, but the qualifiers were like not easy, but the thing that 8 out of 128 players are going here was like it wasn't that hard. Like if you play some other qualifiers, you will have to win like 8 games in a row or something like that, and this was like 4 games and that's it. So maybe it was easier than other I tried.
To prepare decks, first of all you have to look at like the players who are at the event and try to figure out what's the current state of the meta in the game overall, but also like how will people read into that and what will they bring. So you always have to like predict the meta, and then you have to look at yourself, like what am I good at, which decks can I actually bring without sucking with them, because even if you have a good strategy for the format, you actually need to be actually playing the decks well. So like a bit of a mixture of that. I've actually brought Manilog, which I haven't played too much just recently, but I feel like I'm a pretty well-rounded player. I can play pretty much anything, and I felt like it was a good LHS deck. Obviously, I also brought Patron Warrior just because I'm so strong with it. Maybe for something like the next rounds it will be different, because people know that they'll have to face me.
So, we knew a lot of things now about the players. We knew already that Crane is a warrior player. I'm really interested if he will bring a freeze mage though today, because we didn't see the classes today yet, right? And they can change the lineup for today after they will advance. Of course, they are allowed to do that for the last day too. But today they are strictly preparing for a certain opponent. So it's all about preparation, all about scouting, all about the knowledge that they brought from the day one.
Yeah, and we saw Crane actually do really well with his freeze mage in the first game
Mhm.
yesterday. But it's an interesting dynamic as well with these two players. We have Crane, who's really seasoned, he's been playing the game for a long time, plays in every single Open ever and all these tournaments. And then we have Scruffy, who's admittedly said, like, this is my first big tournament. I like his confidence, though, saying, oh, the qualifier was easy, it's fine. And yeah, it's going to be cool just to see how these two guys match up, sort of experience versus sort of the newer guy on the block, so to speak.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Like, Crane is really used to this, and he prepared a lot, like speaking with a lot of good players before the tournament. And
Mhm.
I spoke with him last night, and I believe he's ready for it.
Okay.
So let's see what
Yeah.
Scrappy got.
Well, about the qualifiers, actually, he touched a really important topic that this qualifiers were actually allowing not the top 1, top 2 players to qualify for the main event, but the top 8 from each qualifier, right? So you didn't have to win so many games as usual, which I think is a good change because it allows the tournaments to be bigger, right? It's not narrowing down the player pool to just few lucky people that went through the grueling
Yeah,
from
especially
the grueling way, right?
because we have, like you said, normal qualifiers, like the top 1 or maybe 2 go through, and that can be really rough for the people who get like top 4 or something, like going so far, playing so many games
Exactly.
and not quite making it. I've seen the predictions now, and it looks like Twitter's definitely behind Crane on this one.
Twitch was behind Crane too, if I remember. 64 was it?
And
76 and
Gamers.
Gosu Gamers. Wow.
Scruffy's got everything to play for now. He's going to tilt those
Yup.
percentages the other way after this set, potentially.
For Crane, it's also important to perform now better than usual, I would say, because he's still lacking that breakout performance.
Yeah.
Like everyone in the scene knows Crane. In the pro scene, they practice with him. They know that he's an outstanding warrior player, but somehow he's not breaking through the tournaments yet. So he has, from his point of view, he has to prove the pro players that he can perform well in tournament. But for Scruffy, this is the first time playing in a tournament, like in a broadcast tournament as well. So for him, it's just important to have any kind of result, basically, right? For him, being top 16 here is already a big step. So everything now forward is just icing on the cake.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him get, super happy about getting top 16 in the tournament, which is pretty reasonable. It's pretty understandable because he's right. Getting top 16 in this is really good. And yeah, it's really interesting just to see, like, again, just the experience versus like the sort of newer person to the tournaments. And yeah, everything to play for on both sides. Obviously, this moves on to top 8 tomorrow. And yeah, Crane's going to be really hungry for that big win. And we see Scruffy's just going to play and enjoy his experience and potentially take the set. What do you think of the lineups, Tessin?
Yeah, like, I know that Crane is playing the Warrior will be Patron for sure, that's expected. The Rogue, I'm really not sure about that. I thought he would bring Warlock.
No, see, so he changed and he's not using a mage anymore, which is I think a good move when your opponent knows that you're playing a freeze mage, so he might bring Druid Warrior, and which is actually happening because Scruffy has both of those classes, which are basically almost a free win against a freeze mage, right? I'm
Exaggerating.
exaggerating. I'm speaking in like ultimate outcomes of the games, but when it comes to card games, and 70-30 matchup is heavily favoring one of the players, right?
Yeah, so we are starting with the Warrior versus Druid, and really interesting as well that the Druid's actually got the Harrison Jones in it. So he knows he's playing against Crane here. He knows he favors that Warrior class, and can do some work against all 3 of these classes if the Druid can actually take the win.
Yeah, it's a really important game though. Like, can he keep going with the Harrison Druid and beat the other decks? Like, Crane is playing 3 weapon classes, Warrior, Rogue, Paladin. So I believe the first game here is really important. If Crane can take this victory, it will look really good for him.
Yeah, and Scruffy's actually got off to a reasonable start here with the wild growth. He has Shade next turn. If he wants slightly off curve, of course, but that's still fine. And the Wrath to deal with this girl if he feels it's too crazy. But I think we might just see the Shade instead. Is there much value in actually just like Wrath hero power now? I don't think so.
No, I believe you're right. There will come a Shade, I think.
Oh, he's deciding. He has options. Yeah, I don't know. Like the Wrath's fine because it stops, say, like a Frothing Berserker coming down next turn and causing some more issues. But I like just getting the Shade on the board, letting it build up the health so that the Whirlwind effects aren't too detrimental.
Yeah, and it allows him to kill the ghoul anyway, right? So if there's a Frothing Berserker, then he's allowed to destroy both because you can play Wrath and attack with the Shade to the unstable ghoul, so you're dealing with 2 problems with 1 stone, basically.
So the question is, will Crane go for Frothing Berserk or Acolyte of Pain? I believe, okay, he's going for the Acolyte.
Yeah, so just valuing the card draw, and maybe because the shade is down, he's like, actually, yes, you know, a Wrath could come down and lock my Frothing Berserker out pretty hard. Whereas if a Wrath goes on the Acolyte, you know, the shade either runs into the ghoul and then, you know, is on 1 health, which is very easy to deal with, or it just stays stealth. And also, the Wrath on 5 mana as well sort of greatly reduces the Druid's abilities in terms of using the full mana curve.
That's true. Like having 2 mana use on turn 5 limits the options for the Druid player, but when you think about it, if your opponent doesn't have an option to use the Wrath this turn, he will develop the board, and when he will develop the board, then you have a chance to draw weapons and get the maximum value out of your Unstable Ghoul and the AoE damage, right? And if he actually exposes the shade, that's okay for the warrior as well, right? We'll see how it goes like in the upcoming turns, because for Crane it's crucial to get the weapons as soon as possible. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a chance here of drawing it and just sacrifice the Ghoul and then the Acolyte of Pain just to get the weapon out there, because there's like 4 weapons in the deck at least. Probably just 4, but that's the minimum amount. And he is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards deep. 8 cards deep, so 4 to 22. To draw a weapon, he will have multiple draws.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the weapons are actually you know, super important in this matchup. Like getting the Despite on board is pretty huge.
Wow, that's a perfect draw too. Now it allows to trade with the Acolyte of Pain, get 3 draws from it, and kill the Azure Drake as well.
If he goes for Whirlwind or anything AoE, he can also kill the Shade.
Yeah, if he attacks him with the Ghoul and then Whirlwinds again.
I
Be pretty
think
huge.
he will just ignore that.
It's just tuned to just bank the big Battle Rage there, because that's actually pretty huge. And we do see he does draw into Despite as well, so it's pretty nice. He does get to clear off the Drake. And also, he's, you know, like the Whirlwind play definitely helps versus the Shade, but he gets to hold on to it now in case of something like Patrons.
Yeah,
Which
for
is pretty
sure.
good as well.
He got the Deathbite.
He drew like a million cards.
Yeah.
So the chance of drawing a weapon were quite high. And I'm sure that Scruffy now kinda regrets not killing the Acolyte of Pain when he had the chance.
Yeah, and this hand actually is really rough for Scruffy. There's nothing good you want to do with this. Like, he did just draw one. He might even just cycle again, although I think the Wrath's going to be a useful tool versus the Patrons potentially later on.
Against the Patrons, that's the combo, right? And probably the Patrons will not happen until turn 6.
Yeah.
Right? So if you manage to play the Emperor next turn, then you will have the combo for the upcoming turn, so it's kind of okay to deal with the Patrons at that point, right?
Yeah.
The Horizon Jones will also be important, because I'm kind of thinking about developing the Deathspite right now.
Yeah, I think you naturally want to develop the Despite to be able to bring the Shades out there. It's a tough one here, because there is still combo and Emperor and, you know, like Harrison in hand. So, like, who do you think's actually ahead here?
Yeah, it's really tough. Like, I believe Crane thinks he's ahead because of the hand, but since there's a Harrison on the opponent's hand, it can be really tough. But I think Crane got a good chance.
Yeah,
So ahead.
yeah. And I think the big problem here is he didn't kill the Shade off. So you know, it's still growing. It's still now like pretty much not vulnerable to Whirlwind effects, because there's just not a big chance that there's going to be 3 Whirlwind effects stacked up one after the other. So it's pretty nice. And drawing into Lothar is actually pretty good as well, because you lock out another turn where they can build the big Patron board up.
Loader will be super important against the Patron, especially with a huge hand like that for Crane, right? It probably will lock down like at least half of the hand to be even playable at some point in the game. So playing it before comboing out will be huge.
Yeah, and I believe Scruffy wants to take the game down pretty soon, like he attacked with the Shade, and he got a combo on the hand with Emperor, so...
Yeah, this is looking still really weird though, because you know, when a Patron Warrior's got so many cards in hand and so many options, it's always dangerous. But Scruffy's been able to just keep on top of this a little bit. This Berserker's there's no easy way to deal with this. I mean, like Hero Power Wrath's okay, but I don't think you really want to sink like Force of Nature, you know, into it or anything like that. That might be overkill.
No, I think you just play the Emperor and just Darkness's Aspirant, ignore the Frothing Berserker at this point.
Yeah, I believe so as well.
You need that you need some board presence, and your opponent just used an execute. Although he did draw almost his entire deck
Yeah,
at this point.
he did just draw everything, so
Yeah.
you've got to work your way around that. But I agree, I think Emperor's pretty good here. And also, the thing you do with Emperor is, one, it's got like Hyper Taunt, so it will die next turn almost certainly. But also, there's now the threat in Crane's mind of like, wow, you know, he's actually reduced a lot of Druid cards there. Like, what can he do to me the following turns?
Yep, that's true. That the threat is real, and you're not gonna know what are you playing against right now, because Innervate can change a lot of stuff, and when you're aware that there are like there are 3.5 Innervate for free for the Druid player in the hand right now, this changes a lot of the dynamic of and predictions of what kind of opponent can do.
Yeah, for sure. I believe Crane is gonna go for the patrons here. He got a good chance. He can execute at the same time.
Yeah, I think this is the turn he just has to, right? He's sitting on 2 patrons in hand, a lot of activators, and even the ghoul as well if he wants to try and squeeze that. And he wouldn't be able to whirlwind though, so I think we are just going to see the inner rage into
Well, he can
whirlwind.
still play Dread Corsair alongside,
Yeah.
so why not?
Will he go execute? I believe then he can.
Yeah, I kind of like this. I think like the Frothing Berserker is such a big threat. Also, we can see it as a big game hunter in hand, but he gets 8 damage there, and suddenly, like, there's a real chance that he could die next turn if this board isn't answered. Like I said, we do see that the BGH is in hand for Scruffy, so he can deal with the Frothing.
But then there's still 4 pages on the board, right? So is this the turn when you need to play both Big Game Hunter and the combo because of the Emperor?
Yeah, I think it might be, and just leave the 5. Well, no, you can kill everything, right? You just take 5 damage.
Yep.
Oh no, you take 3 because you trade to 3-2 anyway.
Oh
He's
wait,
gonna go for the Wrath instead.
Wrath?
Okay. So maybe he's just confident that. Oh.
Yeah, he can clear if he uses his head to kill the 3-2 patron.
okay, but it's kind of weird that he didn't use the Big Game Hunter right now, just to build up the board and push his opponent to use the weapon against the Big Game Hunter.
Yeah, I just think leave a minion on the board as well. Like, you get the BGH, right? So, you know, that's a kind of an interesting one. We'll see how it works out, see if holding on to that Big Game Hunter is actually going to be worthwhile. Obviously, it's a bit different for us because we can see it as a Grom in hand, but it just feels like a good opportunity to use BGH and then get that body on the board as well.
Just usually when you play against a patron, you're losing to Gromash because he's killing you.
Yeah,
And you don't-
yeah, it's a kill turn, right?
Yeah, and you don't have an option to use the Big Game Hunter at any point in the game. So using the Big Game Hunter right now would be, I guess, valuable, but see how that goes. Still low tip is there, but it will have little to none impact right now because the warrior is low on cards, and almost all of the spells were used. 2 battle rages, 2 whirlwinds, inner rage, 2 executes, and what else is there?
It's probably most of the spells he's used, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, this is crazy though, because the board's so big. Like the low theb doesn't do too much at all. It's good to get it down, obviously, because you know you can squeeze it in, which is fine. You know, it's still going to do some work, but again, the Death Spite draw is going to be pretty nice, just to really add on to this pressure. Because the warrior's not actually on that low health; he's actually feeling pretty okay at 25 at the moment.
25, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was an amazing draw.
First trade with the Acolyte of Pain, see if that changes your draw. Because you can go for the Unstable Ghoul and Grim Patron this turn also.
He could also just keep the Acolyte and trade with the Cruel Taskmaster and weapon and go face.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable actually. Because the thing is, you still have 2 3/3 taunts on the board, and you've already seen a Force of Nature. So that might be okay if he wants to be more aggressive and finish up with the weapon the following turn.
Yeah, Crane sees it.
Oh, you called it. You do know Crane well. Good job.
9 damage to the face.
Yeah, that's
Aggressive
pretty sick,
stance,
yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, I like not playing the Ghoul as well. The Ghoul like does little to nothing on this board, except just another taunt. But with 2, you're probably feeling pretty good.
Such a shame that you can't charge the Ghoul anymore. You know?
Really, Lothar?
With the Warzone
Really?
Commander.
It's
and
such
the
a
1
shame
million
the deck isn't insane anymore, even though it's
Yeah.
still good after the nerf.
It was just too good.
Were you a big fan of Patron, Lothar?
I was a fan of the game design of the deck and how it
Okay.
was like, how it evolved during the game. but the power level of the cards inside the deck were just, you know, out of scale,
Control, yeah.
out of scale, and that was the problem with the deck.
Are you
But
a
I love how the synergy worked with the whole deck. That was awesome.
Oh, there is that Grom. Are we going to see the BGH?
Nope.
Oh no, because that's lethal. Of
Yeah,
course.
that's He
And
wasn't
that's the
that-
point, Lothar. That's
Yeah.
the point, isn't it? You see Grom for the finisher, so kind of interesting he didn't choose the BGH on the turn just to snipe the Frothing straight away. So yeah, that's going to be the first game to Crane. Probably feeling confident taking that first game with a deck he's pretty much known for, right?
Yeah, and he now can stick to it. So maybe he'll get another win with it, or maybe just even free out with his favorite deck, that his most precious deck, right? Because he has he said himself that this is the best deck. This is his best deck, and he knows how to play it, and he feels most confident with it. So it's very important to have still that in your sleeve.
Yeah, I imagine Crane is pretty happy with the last hero standing format here, where it's like, I know, I'll start with my Patron Warrior and just 3-0 you. But, you know, definitely off to a good start. We can see some of the plays here, and this was obviously a pretty decent turn. We can get Patrons onto a massive Frothing. And I think the execute was really key here as well, because it didn't require the Frothing to trade in, and he could just remove the Emperor quite easily.
That's true. Well, I was thinking back then about the Ratsay cursor, but you're right. Probably just killing the Emperor was way more valuable than developing another body on the board when there's already 4 free attack minions. Right?
Yeah, and there's so many threats. You know, like it's kind of difficult to deal with when you've got like normally you see like a big Frothing and that's the main threat, or Patrons and that's the threat. Whereas when you can put both on the board, like that's pretty ridiculous.
Yep, that's true. So Scruffy has left a Warlock and a Warrior. I imagine he might be playing Warrior Control Warrior because he was preparing probably against Freeze Mage and Patron Warrior at the same time. So if that's the case, then his Control Warrior would have great chances against the Patron Warrior, right? With multiple brawls and weapons, of course, bashes, that kind of stuff that can easily battle the blow out of proportion side of the board from Patron Warrior.
Yeah, I for sure believe if he got Control Warrior, he will bring it right now. It's a big counter, double brawl probably, and yeah, it will give Crane problems. But I believe Crane is fine. He won against the deck with Harrison Jones, and I don't believe he will play more than one deck with Harrison. So
Imagine if it's Patron Warrior and he cues Patron Warrior into Patron Warrior against Crane. That's just a death wish.
That means he plays double brawl.
Oh, imagine.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
so
a nice
showing my
little.
watch.
That's a nice watch there. Lothar.
Well, thank you.
Pretty nice.
Uh,
Yeah, but that would be crazy. But I agree with you guys. I mean, like, if he locks in the Warrior, then you'd imagine it's going to be the Control one. When you got time to prep against someone like Crane, like you can really do your homework. And
Well-
he's quite well known, so doing that homework is probably pretty easy.
You can still play a Warlock if it plays multiple AoE, right? Hellfire, Shadow Flames. You should feel pretty comfortable with that matchup too, right?
Yeah.
It all depends on how do you rate not only your decks, but how do you rate yourself with that current
Yeah.
deck that you want to play.
It does look like it is going to be Control Warrior, as we can see the Alex Straza, the Shield slamming the big Game Hunter. You know, there's an odd chance it could be a very strangely teched Patron Warrior, but now with the
No,
Sylvanas,
probably not.
I'm pretty confident it's Control.
Probably not. The Sylvanas kind of gives it out.
Yeah.
yeah, it looked like Control Warrior for sure.
So what does the Patron Warrior have to do in this matchup to beat the Control Warrior?
Yeah, I actually spoke with Crane about it before, and his tactic is to play like the opponent doesn't have a brawl. He will for sure go for Death by turn 4 and Grim Patron if he can turn 5 with a Dread Corsair to protect one, so
Yeah,
I believe that's his tactic.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like when there's a card that shuts down your deck so hard, you kind of just have to pretend it doesn't exist. And you know, if it does, then fine. Like you said, Crane actually got the win versus a Harrison Jones Tech Druid, which is going to feel pretty good. So he's probably happy with the one win, and then he can deal with what's coming from the controller if he loses. But you know, sometimes they don't draw brawls, so
Yeah,
always the opportunity.
for sure. And I believe that Crane got a really good deck to counter the Control Warrior, so he's fine in this situation. But for sure trying to win.
Well, Crane most likely has to go for a face Patron thing, right? But he needs the Patron. And
Yep.
he lacks card draw right now. The only way of drawing cards is the Acolyte of Pain. And you don't want to use the Whirlwind usually before you play the Patron, right? Just to cycle.
I really like this turn though, because something you can try and get around the brawl is by creating enough of an intimidating board that the warrior feels they sort of have to brawl this board, but it isn't patrons, and then you can maybe go into it. It doesn't happen too often, but it's definitely something you can try if the opportunity arises.
Good point.
For sure.
And now also, killing the free minion is very important just to make way to clear the Frothing Berserker. But my guess is that Crane, even if he had the chance to spam the board and cycle, probably would like to avoid the execute from his opponent, right? Because he doesn't want to damage his own Frothing Berserker at this point. So it's either develop the weapon or just go for the Acolyte of Pain and Ruin. But as I said, I think there's a lot of value of not damaging your own minion to just play into an execute.
Yeah.
For sure. And Crane is still not sure if his opponent is playing Control Warrior or Patron. So I believe he wants to go for the Deathbite.
Well, I'm sure that Crane made some assumptions that his opponent would like to counter his decks, right? And he was, as I said, playing back then the Mage and the Patron Warrior.
And like
right?
I said earlier, let's be honest, if someone locks in Patron versus Crane when they have any other option and he's playing Patron, you've got to think this guy's either crazy or it's Control Warrior, because it's one of those decks that I wouldn't like to play Patron Mirror versus Crane. I know I'd get trashed pretty hard. So this is looking it's looking okay for Scruffy. His health actually, teetering quite low, which can definitely be dangerous, especially because we can see Crane actually has Grom in hand. But it's whether Crane can just push that extra bit, bit of damage, as he's already used one charge of the Despite, so it's not like he has two more charges, something really low. He does choose to take down that Acolyte and just reduce down the Warrior's card draw capabilities, whilst gaining his own. And Dr. Boom's a pretty good draw. Maybe would have liked to have one more mana next turn to just slam it down, but still, that's a pretty good, just again for the Boombots to be able to push some extra damage.
I wasn't aware that Crane has a Dr. Boom in this iteration of his Patron. It does change a lot. Like an example, the Big Game Hunter that we saw last game had another target, right?
Yeah, and it definitely could be a surprise, because we didn't even, on stream yesterday, we saw Crane 3-0 with Freeze Mage, so we didn't actually see him play his Patron deck on stream, I believe. This is a pretty good turn, just dropping the Shield Maid in there, gaining the armor back up, and still presenting a large threat, and he's just seen Deathbite, right? So he's probably feeling pretty good. He still has a Brawl now, which is key, although Crane's still digging for those Patrons at some point, but maybe with Boom he can make it work without, especially now he has a second Deathbite.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe his draw there was pretty good.
Yep.
That's also a slot spell chain of the deck.
Okay, this is interesting. We didn't see a Sludge Belgian Patrons for quite some time. I mean, that's the other option of winning against the Control Warrior, right? As you said, you put the pressure on the board, which is named Grim Patron. So you want the opponent to react to those minions first, and then you try to squeeze those Patrons in after the big threats were being played, just, a card for a card.
Yeah, and again, just not to talk up Crane's Patron play so much, but he is good. But when he includes sort of slightly different cards in a deck like Patron, he's tried and tested those cards. So really interesting to see these slightly different ways to deal with this. And this is going to be a pretty good kill on Sylvanas, and then just slamming Dr. Boom's going to feel pretty reasonable, considering he still has Grom and Whirlwind available on not the next turn, but the turn after.
I was wondering about the Battle Rage for a second, but I was like, it's turn 7.
Dr. Boom's right.
Most likely you would like to play the Dr. Boom.
So what do you think about Dr. Boom and Belcher in Crane's Patron?
Yeah, actually I knew it before. I believe me and Crane are playing the same Patron list for this tournament.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing it as well, so...
Oh! 8
Full
damage
death.
from the bombs. Feels bad, man. Feels bad.
The Belcher is helping a lot in the current meet, and it's really good against the Phase Shamans. That's the reason.
Oh, okay. It's good to know. I'll, Yeah, I mean,
Well, you can't really
guess.
do much.
Yeah, I was looking at the hand, I guess you just play Belcher.
But Armor Smith behind the Belcher is always a great set.
Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately, the current list of Crane, I believe, doesn't play Shield Bashes, right? Shield Smashes, sorry. So it's just a benefit of getting the life, but it doesn't build up the options to clear up the board.
Yeah, and it's a minion that kind of has to be answered, right? It's not a threat on its own, but its ability makes it more and more awkward for the opponent to deal with.
Yes, exactly. Well, this has to be a battle rage turn. So most likely attack first with the armor smith, get it damaged, then battle rage, see what will happen.
Look at all those lovely whirlwind effects. 2 ghouls, 2 whirlwinds, go. This is pretty nice though, because the weapon is actually going to perform dual roles of clearing off the second half of this belcher, and next turn it's an additional 3 damage, so you can actually hit for 13 next turn with the just with the Grom and the weapon and the Grom proc.
That's true.
Yeah, this game is pretty close compared to it's a really tough matchup for Crane, but I believe. Oh, that's the Justica. There.
That will change a lot.
Oh, that's definitely a card.
6 armor in 1 turn, and then 4 armor every single turn. That will change a lot.
For sure, if he's going for it.
Wait. Oh, should you bash that? I mean, you probably will kill it with the bomb. Try to kill it with the bomb, right? You don't care about the armor from your opponent anyway.
Well, is the idea that he wants to clear it like that? Oh, okay, he's going to armor up. Oh, I thought he was going to play True Heart and be like, I feel safe on 16. You know, like, you feel pretty decent. 16 is actually a hard number to hit with just a Fire War Axe on the board. But I'm surprised he didn't get True Heart there, because like you said, stacking up that 4 armor every turn will actually really helps in this matchup, because you know there's only Grom that's really going to come out as burst.
And now isn't the problem that if... Oh, wait. The Dr. Bomb is still alive.
Oh wait, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. But your opponent is pushed to use the Brawl anyway. So if a undamaged patron will win the Brawl, then you have a problem. No, you can use
There's a
the
chance
Shield
that
Slam
you
with
didn't
the
have to
armor.
use Brawl there, right? Because he had Shield Slam, Execute, and Boom to actually kill 3 of the patrons, then you just leave the weak one up.
Yep. But now he's pushed to use the Shield Slam.
Yeah.
Huh. Now this is interesting because now Crane has to make a decision. Should I?
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, but so this is really rough, because it looks like, oh yeah, Grom in a rage is actually awesome, but then when you see the Executes in hand, it's like, no, just do a Grom. Just Grom and hit for 4 and then in a rage next turn.
But I guess the chance is just too good to pass, right?
Yeah.
You go for the Grom with the inner rage and the attack phase. Yep. Unfortunate for him, that will probably mean end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, what other... I mean, we've seen Boom, haven't we? So I don't think there are too many more outs left for Crane to actually win this, as we're going to probably see the Justicar come down along with armoring up and then just go completely out of range of the Patron Warrior.
Yep. Agree. And he used 2 depths, by the way, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got like almost no damage left, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, that's damage. But the weapon will shut it down.
Yeah, just trade the Justica. He just needs health, then the controller will win.
Now he has 2 death bites to mess around with, so... yeah, this is... he even gets the card draw as well, so... From the Acolyte and the Ghoul effect, so this is pretty huge. But yeah, you're right, you just throw the Justicar into the... You don't care about damage at this point, you just armor up past the capabilities of the Patron Warrior to be able to burst.
Second Brawl. Look at that. Getting out of range quickly at 11 HP, Scruffy right now.
You can deny the card draw with Execute, it's fine.
Awesome. Awesome.
This changes everything.
Time for the comeback.
Well, it looks like Crane will have a hard time wrapping up this game. He'll try to bait out some more information about his opponent's deck. But I guess his opponent probably will not play the second Brawl at all.
Yeah, unless he's been totally beat out and like brawls with Grom on the board because he thinks he's going to survive and then kill him anyway. Very far-fetched, and I doubt that's actually going to happen. Yeah, and what's good here is like, there is the Execute, so... 4, 5. So is he going to show the second bash? I mean, I guess you sort of presume a second bash. We've seen 2 so far. Well, that's the second one in his hand, I think.
Yeah, that's the second one.
Yeah,
so
and I think maybe you presume it, so it's not too much of a big deal to actually not hide it. But as you said, it's all information for Crane here.
Well, you want to win the game, right? So
yeah. You guard your hand so much, you actually lose. And you're like, oh wait, that was a misplay.
So it's 1-1 between Crane and Scruffy. Both players won with Warrior, right? So it's kind of an unusual thing to see in our tournament for the past 2 days.
Yeah.
But now Crane has to switch. He has a Rogue and a Druid, right?
No, Paladin.
Paladin. Yeah.
Paladin,
And we're
alright.
going to use the old inside information here. So you said he had a really good deck versus Control Warrior.
Yeah.
So what's he bringing?
Yeah, that will be the anything can happen with Paladin.
Oh,
The-
nice.
One of the first
Brilliant.
ones in the tournament, and he got another secret in the deck. I hope we
Awesome.
will see it.
Awesome,
Oh,
because
okay.
I loved how Crane brought the Vorgan Patron to the G2 Class Legends tournament, and it was a pleasure to watch. So to see him play a unusual deck here,
And let's be honest as well. Although everyone knows what this Murloc deck basically does, but no one's gonna expect it, right? I'm pretty confident Scruffy sees the Paladin in his lineup is like secret Paladin, more than likely. But when he starts seeing those Murlocs pop out, that's definitely going to be a little bit scary.
it can be different also when you see a Acolyte of Pain and Paladin.
Yeah, you start going like Wild
Okay.
Pyromancer. Like surely that's not good. For secret Paladin.
Doomsayer. Okay, now it's kind of different, right? But I'm sure that if Crane is building a deck against Control Warrior with the anything can happen, and he has two of those in the deck, because one is just not enough burst to come down with the whole after the Warriors just turtling up with the armor every single turn, right? So he needs more damage output.
Yeah, so do you want to explain basically the overall idea of this Murloc Paladin list and why it's good versus Control Warrior, you think?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I believe Crane, he got it because he wants to counter Freeze Mage and he wants to counter Control Warrior. And it's just such a huge burst. It doesn't matter about the Justica. He will try to one-shot. Then he's playing double Doomsayer. Just clear the board, wait for the late game, and do double anything can happen and finish the game that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the Murlocs that die, any Murlocs that die get summoned back with anything that is 10 mana. And then the crazier part is, like, you can't really ignore that kind of board. And then if it doesn't kill someone, the second anything just draws all the Murlocs back again. So you can get things like, like...
Four war leaders or
exactly,
something like
and
that,
then the
right?
damage just, like you said, the amount of tanking up kind of doesn't matter because the damage is so ludicrous. If you can chain one after the other, it's like, I don't think like anyone can get to that much health to survive.
It will be a tough game, but will he keep Harrison Jones? He's actually running it in his Warrior list as well.
Yeah, he just didn't want to lose to Crane's Patron Warrior. He was like, you will not beat me with this deck.
So he didn't keep the Harrison Jones. That means, I would guess, that he predicts that this is the secret Paladin.
Yep.
Right? Because he needs more answers early game and not a mid game answer to a weapon.
Yep, and already we start to see some of those joyous Murlocs in Crane's hand. He does have the anything can happen now, which, although is a little bit too early, because he already has Murlocs, it's kind of okay-ish because you know you've got it. Because sometimes you can go through a game and actually not draw the card that makes the deck to a certain extent. The rest of his hand seems okay though. And again, you'll probably correct me, I've not played too much of this deck, I played a little bit, but with the Murlocs, a lot of it is you just play them. Because you don't care if they die, and you don't care, like, if they have some impact on the game, which they will, because they need removing, they're going to push some damage, which is great. But like a lot of the time, you just want them dead, so then anything can pull them out.
It really depends on the version. I believe there's a big chance Crane will just go for the hero power here. And like he know that the game will last long. The only way he can lose this is against a Justica turn 6 and then around 40 or 50 health or something, so he can survive the double anything can happen combo.
Especially that he probably is aware that his opponent plays double brawl. Right? So the anything can happen can be destroyed with a single brawl and a weapon finish, or a smash finish, or bash finish.
Yeah, and this is what the controller is going to have to navigate. He has to, on one hand, gain enough health not to die to combo in the first place, and on the other hand, have two brawls like for both of them, because it's the only way he's actually going to, if he doesn't quite have the health, then he can like maybe brawl and hope he doesn't have the second one straight away, and then build the armor back up. So it's definitely going to be an interesting game, and even with the hero power, he could be thinking, yes, Crane's drawn really badly, he doesn't have a 2-drop, and then it's like next week this Murloc comes down, you're like, no!
This kind of sucks though.
Yeah, this isn't the best thing in the world for him. Do you just give the warrior 2 cards here? I don't know. It's a tough one.
Well, he will get 2 cards anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it's a question of how. At least 2, right? Because if you use hero power, then you don't give out any informations, but your opponent will most likely draw 3 cards from the Acolyte of Pain, or you give out the information immediately.
Yeah.
What are you playing? By playing the Charging Murloc and killing the Acolyte of Pain, right?
think something you definitely don't do is play Humility on this board, as it's probably not going to have the biggest impact.
Wow.
Oh,
what
come
a-
on.
what a
No
yoke.
one even smiled. That was clearly a joke, guys. Come on.
It was a yoke.
I learned everything I know from you, Lothar.
Oh. There's a bash, which will be crucial mid-game. I guess developing a weapon, even though it's off-curve, nothing
Yeah,
doesn't really hurt. But at the same time, you want to have another target for your Acolyte of Pain next turn, so maybe it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, do you think it's just equip the weapon and not kill the 1/1?
I was thinking about it.
Oh, okay, he's gonna clear off the 1/1.
Yeah, Crane didn't show anything. He's probably playing around Blazing of Kings or Uldaman or something. But yeah, he will see the Murloc soon.
Yeah, this is do you think it's a tough one again? These turns are never too simple for Crane here, because then he could True Silver, hide information, for another turn, but True Silver into a 1/2. Kind of rough 'cause it's already got one card draw. He could have played Old Murk-Eye, but then that one gives the game away and lets him know what deck he's playing, and also the weapon already clears it up because he would have took 1 damage from the Acolyte. So I think the True Silver is the best option overall there. It's not fantastic, but again, you just want the board clear, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was a
That's
really
true.
tough one.
But there's the Justy card too hard.
The
Probably
way-
will be played on turn 3. Okay, now that's a good good turn, I guess. War Leader plus Charger Murloc. Deal some damage, put on pressure on board, and push your opponent into reacting to that instead of developing the board.
Yeah. Yeah, and also kind of awkward to deal with because the charge doesn't die to the weapon because it's buffed. So you'd have to go for the War Leader first, then deal with the 2/1.
Well, it will die, right? Because it's plus 3 plus 2, right? +2/+2. So
Yeah,
Oh, it
Plus
will.
2,
Sorry,
plus
it'll
2.
be on 3. Yeah. For some reason,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be on 4. All these Murloc
It
numbers,
pro-
I can't deal with it.
basically it will be a slightly it will basically be a Cochrane Elite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will just be a 4/2 minion, and then he will clear the Wall Leader and probably kill the 2/1. So, oh, he's got the
Oh.
hero power.
Instead of using the War Leader, interesting.
Is he just forcing the axe onto the 2/1, so then he can play the War Leader later? Just make it get slightly less value if it just clears up a 2/1 instead.
Yeah, he will probably do the turn 7 with the Wall Leader and Old Murloc-Eye
Yeah.
to hit for 5 damage.
Interesting. Like, this is the deck I don't have much experience with. I tried it a few times, but I don't know. It's like sometimes the deck just doesn't find anything gonna happen for the whole game, and you can't finish it off.
Yeah,
So-
I think on a base level, everyone just views the deck as you just play Murlocs, then combo, play anything at the end and then win. And it's actually I think it's got much more depth. Like you look at players like Neville's, who's someone who plays a lot of Murloc, this Murloc Paladin list on ladder and performs quite well with it actually, and has done many iterations of the list.
For sure. That's the difference by Crane. He just draw the secret card from his deck. He's playing 1 Kazan, as you can see.
Yeah, to really lock out those potential freeze mage.
Yeah, for sure. That's the reason.
Now Scruffy's like, oh, so a Kazan Mystic. Oh, even the BM though, I love it.
Oh.
Well, the attack will get rid of the Kazan Mystic. It's still, though, a 4/3 minion, right? So it's quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, and this actually makes the weapon, it's one more weapon charge, right? And he wants to just guard the Murlocs, because although the Murlocs are fine if they die, it's better if they live, get some more damage on, and then, they get even more value later on.
So for now, one charging Murloc died, right? So
Yep.
that's...
Oh yeah, this is the deck where we have to keep like the mental note of every single Murloc that's died to then work out damage.
'Cause it's very important for the potential damage burst that you can play. Sometimes you don't have the full combo. Sometimes you just have like 3 Murlocs.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to play it.
And I think you always want like at least one War Leader involved somewhere, because
yeah, for
like
sure.
the extra damage is so much and making the minions so much more difficult to deal with. So that's definitely key. And he does have one in hand, as we've seen, so he can activate that whenever he wants.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this game, it's not necessarily it will stand that long. Like, the Robbie has taken a lot of damage even though he draw Justica.
Yeah, I mean 20 health definitely is not anywhere close to a safe zone from especially when I imagine we're getting to the point soon, especially with that second war leader, where Crane's probably going to commit to these Murlocs at some point, because we're edging towards turn 10, right?
Yep.
Do you think there's any value here in like the war leader, Murkai, and then humility on the 7/7?
Doesn't sound bad, to be honest.
Yeah, and then probably go face with it. I believe.
Yeah, just ignore the minions, because at this point, the more you push, and then like what is 2 turns away from anything can happen, so it gives him 1 additional turn to get the second war leader active, and then he has like Murkai, 2 war leaders, and the charge.
So that's 6 damage from the charging Murloc, and then Murkai will have 6 plus 4, so that's 16 damage.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, this is interesting.
Well, it doesn't clear the board, and you are not pressuring your opponent. Not sure about that.
he probably want to go for the full late game with the double combo.
Yeah, so do you think he's just being patient here and just being like, I want to lock in double combo, because if you combo once and then it gets dealt with like a brawl, and then you have like 4 turns for the warrior to armor up, then suddenly it becomes a bit harder to deal with.
Yeah, I believe it's working since Crane is losing the best Murlocs first. Like, he got 5 Murlocs in the deck, and then he do the anything can happen. He will summon them, right? So
Like the full amount. Yeah.
yeah, like he wants to have it so he can do it 2 times and probably summon 2 Murloc. That's his style, I believe.
So 2 war leaders, 2 Murkai, and 3 charging small Murlocs.
Yeah, like he will probably go for the legendary if he can. It depends on then he's doing the anything.
So now we're going to see how Scruffy chooses to deal with this, because it always feels terrible that you need to remove the minions off the board, but you just know they're going to come back a little bit later.
Yeah.
He does
That's
have
true.
shield block, bash, the armor up, so he's definitely got the capability to gain a lot more health here. It's just how he chooses to actually go about with the 9 mana he's got, whether he chooses to just play it all and then maybe drop the air, try and get the armor smith in, but
Yeah, I believe he should just go for as much armor as possible. There's no reason to go offensive with Extraza or Execute or anything.
yeah.
Just get the armor to survive the combo.
Heal, but not really useful.
Do you think we're just going to see lay on hands here?
Yeah, I
Just
believe
cycle
so.
through, because the health just, the control warrior is not just killing you straight at the moment.
He's really going for the anything. That's unexpected.
Okay, so he's clearing
a
off
lot
the
of
armor
damage.
smith, just removing the threat of like a lot of armor gain from that 2 drop,
Oh.
The Brawl top deck.
and the universal size brawl is drawn. Yeah,
And there's a way to destroy the minion that will survive the brawl as well with the shield slam.
you say that, isn't Dr. Boom just gonna survive?
Oh yeah, right. That's,
oh, that
that's
would
of
be
course gonna
horrendous.
True. So now they all die, so the pool with the dead Murlocs are 4 war leaders, 2 Murkai, and 2
charges, yeah.
and 2 blue guild warriors,
Yeah.
right? But my question is, how they're being counted for the second anything can happen? Which one
Yeah,
are
what
being
draws what?
resurrected?
Yeah.
Are the first one to die being counted as the first one to die?
Yeah, it's the first one to die. It depends.
Okay, so the last war leader will not be
Yeah.
resurrected by the second anything can happen in this situation. 'Cause- Okay, so 3 war leaders, 2 blue guild warriors, and 2 Murkai.
Yep.
Right? So that is plus 6 damage on each single minion. So we have 6, 12, 18, 24, then base 8, 32, and plus 6, 48.
This play is awesome. Sorry, Lothar, but the Doomsayer just completely locks out potential Alex Straza, because he just saw lay on hands. Maybe feels like, yeah, okay, Alex Straza put a big minion on the board. He's seen the humility, so that could have been rough. So the Doomsayer was actually pretty cool there. Don't know how much of an impact it had really, whether he was just going to shield block anyway, but still pretty nice.
How many cards were left for Crane?
I'm not sure. It doesn't look like a lot though. 12.
12. Well, that's actually a lot.
Yeah, that's actually more. I mean,
He needs to pressure his opponent because he has, if I'm not mistaken, 48 damage from a empty board with anything can happen. But the warrior has a tank up, and he's able to kind of turtle up every single turn, right? So
do you think because there's the equality in hand now, he can actually just go like True Silver, Acolyte, Aldor, Peacekeeper? to just put stuff on the board to try and, like, again, just keep the armor down. Because he has the equality and then either the weapon or the minions to deal with something big from the warrior. And it's just like, I think he just needs to do something, because now, like, the second lay on hands, he's going to just signal to Scruffy that he's got, you know, an opportunity to actually play the Alexstrasza next turn, but he did draw into the anything.
Okay, so this is why I like the Pyromancer more than the hero power, because it deals 3 damage, right?
Yeah.
If your opponent doesn't, even if he kills it with a weapon, it still deals 3 damage. So your opponent will be at 43, and you probably will kill it. The problem, you probably will kill your opponent with the anything can happen. The problem is, the Belcher showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Belcher was for sure a really good draw. And it really depends on the second brawl, if it will come before the anything. Like, Crane got the anything, but will he use it?
Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh, this is brave. This is brave.
Shit.
So that's game, right?
If your math is correct, Lothar, and I have
If-
no doubts of judging you whatsoever.
If
so
I'm correct about the order in which they are
Yeah,
resurrected,
yeah.
right? So you sacrifice the Pyromancer first, and you should be, and that should be the damage to kill your opponent. But I'm not sure. I'm not the expert in this deck, so don't don't kill me if I'm wrong. Twitch chat is
I
probably.
cannot promise you this.
Wait, what?
So I'm guessing it's just not right.
Okay, so
You know, I'm really
Yeah.
going with, if Crane isn't doing this, then it isn't lethal, because he's brought the deck. He definitely knows it better than I do for a start. So I'm pretty confident he's decided that isn't lethal, and he wants to just build the board up, sort of neutralize the Alexstrasza there, and just push now to reduce the armor down.
I'm really curious to know. You know, because this is very interesting interaction, and if you clog the board right now, that means you can't really push for the damage that anything can happen anyway, because the Belcher is actually a problem for the anything can happen player, because even if it dies, it still blocks one spot
You
on
only
the
have
board.
7 places on the board, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
the only benefit to this is that if the minions stay on the board, then he can just continue to push, right, and just keep the armor down, because he's currently hitting for more armor than the warrior can gain. So even, you know, like 2-3 turns down the line, he's still gonna, you know, do some more damage, and like even like just double heal bot back up to, back up to full actually would be pretty crazy.
I believe he needs to do it, since he can't suicide all his stuff. Like, the Elder's Peacekeeper just have too much health. So I believe he will go double heal bot full phase here.
Yeah, and you've seen Alexstrasza, haven't you? So like, there's not a lot to actually be too fearful from the control warrior. And it puts another 2/3/3s on the board, and you know, he wasn't ready to anything the previous turn, so he's probably not going to do it this turn. Especially with
most
3
likely.
minions on the board, like it would be crazy.
I like stacking up the weapon though, because it's 8 damage
Yep,
in
over
the
time,
time,
yeah.
over time in the 2 turns, and basically it's a charge
And
minion.
you still get the 2
Yeah.
heal, right? So it's still, you know,
Yeah.
like pushing you a little bit further out. So I like this too.
Now the Belcher.
So I guess he's going to attack in now, kill off the... Do you want to
Pyromancer?
kill off the Pyro? It's so weird, this matchup. 'Cause sometimes it's like, maybe you want to leave some of this alive to just potentially cause more issues with the anything.
But the Pyromancer is not such a big liability for the Paladin in this situation, because he's not playing Master of a Battle.
Yeah.
And
true.
there's the equality.
And the thing as well is that he could always attack in first, then anything, and then does the AoE kill the Pyro before the Murlocs are spawned? I don't know, but there's a chance.
Okay, so he goes for the equality clear this turn and Solemn Vigil, I guess. Or just calculate a thing? Not sure.
Yeah.
How many cards does he have back?
Around 6, I would say. Probably we'll see in a second.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, he's going for the card.
Yeah, it's going for the cheap card draw to play both, I guess.
He's
Dr.
playing
Boom.
Dr. Boom.
Yeah, okay.
How many cards were there? 3?
I-
No?
Let's have a look at the second.
I wanted all though.
A second Conk, a second Doomsayer.
2 cards
2.
left. So he was at 6 cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good counting, Lothar.
I didn't count. I was like, going with my instinct, with my gut
Well,
feeling.
either way, it's impressive. And then the Doomsayer doing a similar job we saw the first Doomsayer doing. Kind of like, the Warrior doesn't normally have too many ways of dealing with it, especially because I think, have we seen an Execute yet? I think we've seen at least one, right?
We have seen one execute.
Yeah. So, like, the odds on being able to proc the Execute and do it, is pretty low. So this is kind of awkward to Scruffy, where he's just looks like he's weighing up Shield Maiden just to gain the armor. Shield Maiden armor up, still a significant number. But you know, you do just lose that 5-5 straight away, and the Warriors actually struggling to put any pressure on the Paladin here.
I'm really surprised by the fact that the anything can happen doesn't have more than 40 damage output after this first one, right? With the perfect setup, right? Because it's 3 warriors. I don't know.
He's gonna throw the bluegill in there. Poke for 2.
I need to ask a question about this.
Yeah,
to
we
Crane.
will investigate.
Yeah. And for Scruffy, it doesn't look good now, because even though the Big M Hunter will get rid of the Dr. Boom, the bombs will remain, and their actual will matter. The damage from the bombs might be a very huge
And also,
swing.
you kill the boom, but you just make more space for Murlocs.
Yeah.
And the old Murkais do way more damage than boom. You know, like on the board anyway. So it feels really weird when you killing a boom with Big Game Hunter doesn't feel great. Like that's when you know you're playing a weird deck.
Well, you need to play the Big M Hunter, and I guess you need to play the Belcher and just armor up.
Yeah, I believe as well.
Yeah, I
that's the
think
right
there's
play here.
That's
nothing
not a
else does
thing.
anything,
Yeah,
does it?
exactly.
Like,
Like,
at least this is proactive a little bit.
Playing Grommash here doesn't really guarantee.
Just throws
you
him out there.
anything. Yeah,
It's like, go on,
it's like,
Grommash, just deal with this, please.
Master Ball,
Kill
go.
them all.
Yeah, do you not inner rage for like 20 extra damage, Grommash? What are you doing?
Oh wow.
He's going for the
Go for that
Acolyte.
light.
He really wants the brawl, maybe?
Oh. So,
But
do-
the brawl is too late, right?
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so do you actually just like
I believe
look at whether you equality and trade the bombs in for the
That's
additional
a very
damage,
bad
and
idea.
then you leave one Murloc on the board, so it's not as bad because the Murloc's still getting buffed from the anything next turn.
So do you maximize the damage by having one less war leader and plus 1 shot? No, that doesn't
I
end up.
have no idea. I have no idea anymore.
you want the ward leaders and Murloc
Yeah.
guy. That's the best ones, for sure. So, heal bot for the damage, I believe.
I would say
Sure.
so.
Yeah,
At this point, why not?
for sure. Oh, that's the brawl, but yeah.
It might not matter though. It might just be one of the like the Grom effect we talked about earlier, where you know the anything's going to come out when the game's over.
Yeah. I believe Crane got this game.
It does 4
But,
damage from the
but
weapon.
it didn't change. Like the situation on the board didn't change from the turn when he could have played the second anything can happen. So if you will have lethal this turn, he would have it back then, right?
Yeah. Oh well, he's on lower health now, right?
Yeah, he's just
He's on
waiting now, because Crane can't go for the anything can happen since he has some useless cards on the battlefield.
That's why I thought he was going to equality and then trade in the minions instead to make room. Like,
this is what I liked
Yeah.
about it.
He's
because
not
now it's kind of like, oh, like, can I actually just get fatigued here because he just can't play it, or he has to play it and hope there's no brawl. But obviously, every single card that gets drawn, like the Warriors, very likely to have brawl.
You have no way of clearing your own minions, and if Scruffy did plan that out, then hats off.
Yeah, fair play to the guy. So what's... I wonder how many cards the Warrior has left here. Because he could try and think about... Even fatigue's going to be tough with gaining 4 armor every turn.
Well, you gain 4 armor.
Because it's like, he could fatigue him to whatever, and then do anything to push him to then fatigue kills him. Like, that might be the only out here, because he clearly doesn't have lethal because he would have done it now, right?
almost out of cards.
Harrison.
Does he, Harrison?
No, I don't think so, because then he can still suicide stuff.
He needs a weapon. Does he have any weapons left? Because the weapon will be perfect solution to this situation. He can push for damage to the face.
Yeah, and still not
push,
kill the minions.
Still not kill the minions, and get in range of a Grommash charge,
Yeah.
right, with the revenge.
Well, again, that's sort of what you do in fatigue matchups, right? You set the Grommash up to put them into the next turn fatigue death. So you just wait it out and set that up. And it's similar to what I think Crane has to do now to win this game. As we said earlier, if anything isn't lethal, then you know that's the only out, right? He would have used it by now if it was guaranteed.
That's kind of the
So
damage again.
28, yeah. But then you have to minus off the Murlocs in order because there's already minions on the board.
2 Murkais.
So,
2
is Sophie gonna
charging.
clear, or will he just kill the blue grill? Like, he can kill it without a problem, because
It
doesn't
doesn't
actually change anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Shield slam on the blue guy. That'll be so good.
I believe it's that or gonna use a minion. I don't like to just pass, yeah.
Well, you can't really play the minion to make space, right?
That's why I would go for the shield slam.
Yeah, because like the Murloc's now doing an additional 2 damage
Yeah.
every turn. That if he killed it, well, you know what? The Murloc's going to fill the board regardless. So this one Murloc doesn't
There's
change
the death
anything.
spite, and that will
Will it?
actually be the game.
Will it?
Because
Well, can Crane not potentially...
Crane will get 5 damage next turn, and that means
How much
he will be
damage
at
does he have from anything? though?
18, 5. He will be dead to Gromash and
Yeah, so he just has to cast it and see. I don't think that's enough.
5. Yeah. It
Oh,
is.
really?
It's
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, it
wow.
is enough.
Okay,
Whoa,
look
whoa.
at Crane. Was, I'm pretty confident Crane wasn't quite sure there.
So
either.
he was
like, oh yeah,
Ho
that
was
worked.
missing lethal for like 12 turns.
Yeah.
Yep. But hey ho. What? Oh my god,
Extended
what a
PM.
game. And guess what, guys? We have another game to cast of that Murloc Paladin.
Yeah, but so we need to check if it really works this way that the order of the minions killed are getting resurrected with anything can happen, or is it a random effect, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's
'Cause
random,
it can't really be anything else other than one of those 2 options, right?
Yeah.
It's like because nothing else would make sense.
yeah, exactly. It's either that or that. So if it's in the order of them being killed, then he would have lethal. The turn he did draw, the second anything can happen. If it's random, then I think you should have played it anyway. Like,
yeah.
because in this
Yeah,
situation when Scruffy actually figured it out how to win the game, and really well played by Scruffy, like he
Yeah.
knew exactly what he needs to do to win the game. That was his last chance, right? So really well played.
I actually wonder how much overkill he had. Because I didn't quite see I knew he had overkill because the weapon overkill and he still had a minion on board. But for lethal.
Over 2, but this turn.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering
Yeah,
if he
we
killed.
use it now.
Okay, cool. If he killed that 2-1, like turns ago, because that was on the board for quite a while.
Over 1.
Yeah.
Actually, over 1. So if
So
he
do you
would-
think if he shield slammed the Murloc like 5 turns, because that was on the board for ages, right? That 2-1
Yeah.
Murloc.
That
if
would
he
have
killed it,
changed a
that
lot.
was stacking the damage, wasn't
yes.
it?
So
That's
Scruffy would have won if he would shield slam the Murloc. The first turn was available, but the other 2 slots were taken.
Yeah.
But this could have also pushed Crane to actually play the anything can happen.
Yeah. Oh my god. And also, it's not often you actually say if he did like an 8 damage shield slam on that 2-1 Murloc 3 turns ago, he would have like won. It's like that's such a weird sentence to hear in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a fun game though. Definitely, that was a lot of fun. And Scruffy's got to compose himself now and think, can my Warlock beat this Murloc Paladin? And I would honestly be afraid. Because that's something that this deck does, right? A lot of the time when people, like I know I've played against it, where you feel like you've done everything you can, and then you still die because sometimes there just isn't a lot you can actually do to compete.
Well, it's a zoo.
It might. Oh, okay.
It's a zoo.
Yeah, just because there was like an owl, it could still be Reno, right?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it still plays Peddler and
double,
Dragon Boss, but yeah, the double
peddlers.
Peddler seems a bit more standard.
Ow, and a Pyromancer and a quality already in hand.
Yeah, I believe this matchup can work out for Crane if he's playing it right and got the fine draws. Like right now, double white Power Mans on starting hand is for sure useful.
Yep. And then the opening hand. I mean, let's not get this wrong. Double Dark Peddler is actually pretty good as well. It's a nice opening, definitely. I mean, is this a matchup where you have to just completely go all in as the Zoo and just hope the Paladin can't heal or answer fast enough? Because he has 1 Power Overwhelming. There's a potential chance for 2 more, like +4 damage in the form of another Power Overwhelming or a Soulfire or something. So, speaking of Soulfire.
Yeah.
Oh my god, does he pick the Tide Caller to mess with his anything can happen? Please, that's definitely the play. Oh my
Take
god.
Take it.
That's actually sick. Because it will, he can potentially like kill it first, right? And if that's the way it orders, then that's crazy because he will just summon a Tide Caller.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my god.
What a sick play.
How is Scruffy not just smiling about that? I would struggle to hide that. I'd be like, oh, so you're playing Murlocs, are you? Well, how about this? Boom, Tide Caller.
It's the old school Murloc Warlock. You know? That was a thing with the old
Oh my
blood
God.
imps. That was so ridiculous.
Oh, so it's Sea Giant soon.
Yeah. So it's pretty reasonable. Oh, there's a PO as well. So I like the PO just because I think like with this deck you can actually push because the only real heals are lay on hands and heal bots. So if you can pressure so hard on turn 5 they have to heal bot but you still have the board, then you can really just like continue to steamroll and push that.
Yeah. I believe Power Overwhelm is fine for sure, and he has a lot of 1-drops, and the curve is fine. Like, yeah.
So this is going to be a...
And that's a Doomsday on the hand.
This is kind of tough. You can like do that and play like Humility on the 2. Yeah, on the 2-2. I mean, this is not an amazing turn, but it definitely does the job, right? It just slows the Warlock down again, and because I think one of the really strong combos is Humility and Doomsayer, right? On a you know, like on a big like a Dr. Boom, and then you just Humility Doomsayer, and you're like, okay, try and kill it. This is looking okay. Crane didn't even look like he reacted to this Murloc, which makes me think he's some kind of machine. Because I would have definitely like at least gave it a bit of a nod. You're like, right, okay, cool.
Smile or something like that.
Exactly, just be like, yeah, okay. This is a tough one as well. Is there any merit in just dropping a Doomsayer? Because you now have 2.
Yeah, I believe he will go for Doomsayer hero power. It's really important to hero power, because then the Scruffy will go face, and the hero power will die. And if Crane draws Soul and Vigil, he will get the reduction on it.
Yeah. That's another little interaction that, you know, like sort of the guys who have played this deck less maybe won't think about because of the way Doomsayer actually kills stuff on your turn. So it does reduce the cost of Solemn Vigil.
I'm trying to find the information about anything can happen.
Are you trying to anything can happen maths? I know Subtle was doing a lot of maths.
No, I'm just trying to, like, the math is okay, it's not a problem, but but the order.
Oh, the ordering, yeah. Okay, so he did play the Peacekeeper to reduce the attack by 1 on the Imgang boss, but the Imgang boss is still going to be a bit of a problem by creating those tokens. And this is kind of funny. So, like, on one aspect, the Tidecaller being present on the board, if it dies, it causes the anything potentially to be awkward. But also, it kind of stops him playing something like a War Leader. Oh, for example, got that one.
It's not only buff from the basics of the War Leader, but it's also buff for plus
yeah,
1.
+1. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is kind of weird.
Yeah, the War Leader will be sad here.
Feels bad, Murloc, indeed. This is tough because it's not representing much damage, and he's on 29 health, so is there even an opportunity to just hero power past this turn? Because I feel like... Whoa.
Okay, so the Murlocs to be summoned are chosen randomly from the list of Murlocs that have died this game.
Oh, wow, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, so that's just like almost impossible to manage. And we'll probably explain Crane's reluctance. Because if he got the wrong Murlocs, could he potentially have not
But
got
it was very limited. He had 8 Murlocs, so only if you wouldn't get 2 old Merc Eyes, that was the only outcome that wouldn't give him the lethal.
Yeah.
Because he had 4 War Leaders, 2 Merc Eyes, and 4 charging 4 Bloggle Warriors. No, sorry,
That's
2
3,
Bloggle Warriors, 2 Merc Eyes,
because he had one on the
and
board, right?
4 War Leaders. So if you would have the worst example, which was 4 War Leaders, 2 Bloggle Warriors, and 1 Merc Eye, then it's 3 charging Murlocs, but each of them has plus
he had
8.
one less space as well because there was already a 2-1 on the board.
The first time he could have played it.
earlier on, right?
So,
right.
that's plus 8. I'm sorry I'm still stuck in that game, but it's just so...
Well, pretty fun things happening
peculiar,
here
right?
anyway, because the fact that Scruffy was just straight up like emoting because that War Leader did come down, he does get the Sea Giant down, and we can see that Equality Wild Pyro is going to get some work done, but there'll still be the tokens left afterwards.
You guys cast, I will be doing the math.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Wild Pyro Equality just looks too good. I was looking at, like, Equality, Phase Tank with True Silver, maybe. But this is pretty nice. And this also is a cool play because we can see 3 power over. So there's 1 for each minion if he really wants to just spread that around. But he can actually kill this Doomsayer, but is it worth it?
I believe he should start lifetime and see
Yeah,
what
I think like this just doesn't gain you enough. You've not really got a board to actually guard here.
So the worst case scenario was 37 damage.
And wasn't he above 40 on the first turn we said? Was he on like 42 or something?
It was 42.
Yeah, I'm thinking
but
he was on like...
the worst case scenario was 37.
Yeah.
And you still have a full board of Murlocs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So he is going to PO, get the Argus down and trade. This is okay, just only spending 1. You still build up a bit of a board, and he has Lotheb as well, so he can effectively come turn 10 if he wants to, just buy himself an additional turn of saying, you are not going to anything me whatsoever, because I'm pretty confident no one can get that much mana. So yeah, Lotheb's actually pretty key and could actually really help close out this game. As like he could even Lotheb next turn to lock out Lay on Hands, and he has double power overwhelming in hand. So that could definitely be a little bit scary.
But he needs a tempo swing. This is why the weapon needs to come down this turn. Weapon plus Bloodguild Warrior, kill the minions, and clean up the turn after. An additional minion would be the most important for Crane right now, I guess. Oh, he goes for the risky route with Doomsayer. I mean, it kind of acts like a Lay on Hands without the draw, right? Because it will soak around 7 to 9 damage, right?
Yeah. So what do you guys like here? Do you like Lotheb and a power overwhelming, and then trade with the 2 minions on board, leave the 2/2 taunt up, and have the Lotheb behind it?
I guess you have to do
Yeah,
it.
I
think you lose too much, right?
But like Lotheb is really good into Crane's turn 8. He knows that there will be a Lay on Hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really tough matchup. Like, no one practiced to play against anything. Like,
Everyone's furiously practicing against anything, just in case anything does happen. So yeah, it does look like we're going to go for the Lotheb to PO. I like this because your Lotheb's still guarded behind the taunt of the 2/2. So that feels pretty good. You lock out the Lay on Hands, and now Crane has to have an answer. And he does have the Bluegill Warrior to actually push through the taunt. But he can actually... now he can. Because the second... That is actually an insane draw. So he can actually clear the board, which is pretty huge, and open himself up for a Lay on Hands next turn. Is there any reason you wouldn't...
I would
you
say
kill it,
yeah,
you
yeah.
kill it.
Just the stall then was like, have I missed something really obvious?
It's just the fact that you play around Defender Argus, Abusive Surgeons, additional POs, but you saw 2, so, yeah. But it also, Direwolf Alpha, what else? Sea Giant.
Yeah, that Lotheb proc in the Sea Giant early. Okay, so he's definitely got more sustain. I think he goes for Lay on Hands, right? You need the cards, right?
Yes.
That's the real
Yes.
problem right now.
You need the cards.
Well played.
This emote usage is fantastic. The good thing here, though, for Scruffy is that these minions kind of lend themselves towards Gormok as well, so that could be pretty nice. And even now a Voidwalker to defend Gormok if needed.
What?
Whoa, he's
what?
playing Leroy?
Okay, that's going to be an unexpected 10 damage with the PO.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah, Leroy is really fancy. It's working with the Sea Giants.
So, yeah, okay. So I was wondering, it was interesting that he tapped as opposed to playing like, he could have Voidwalker, Argus, and then played Gormok just to push damage. Because he's seen an equality already,
But
right?
he has to play around anything can happen this turn, right? How many Mirlocs are dead?
Yeah, but he
War
still puts up
Leader,
2 taunts regardless, right?
Wall
So he's
leader?
tapped into Leroy, he could have not and played
But if you
Voidwalker and
play-
2 more taunts.
Oh, you mean attack into the... Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because then he could have, like, he's generated enough minions. I mean, he could just not defend Argus this turn, but it was just interesting that he had, like, the Argus, the Gormok, and another taunt, and chose to actually tap instead. So, I mean, this is still good. He can just Argus next turn, but...
A big spear, though, landed for that additional damage. When you think about it, Gormok is ridiculous, right? When you have... But it's kind of a win more card. But it...
To a certain extent, I think in these current forms of Zoo, it's not, like, weird to have a board, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good if you've got a board, but it's the only way you ever win a match. So it's not like, oh, well, I had a massive board anyway, so I win. It's just that, I build a bit of a board as part of the deck style in itself.
I just wanted to say that it's a win more card, but it's not a win more card with bad stats like Enhance or Meccano.
Yeah. Yeah, even as like the 4/4, sometimes you play it as a 4/4, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's
sometimes
not that
that's
bad,
just
right?
the right play, and you know
Yeah.
what? It's pretty decent because it's not like overcosted for what it does. I think.
It's really tough to use, and you can use it in many different ways. Like, you can use it with Brand Bondword against...
Which is pretty awesome. I think everyone can admit, like, sniping a giant with Gormok is pretty sick.
Or just finish up the
Yeah,
game.
I'll just
It's like
8 to face. Like.
really
like
good
a-
against Freeze Mage.
RPG to the face.
Okay, so this is another interesting turn. Do you think there was a requirement to tap there?
Well, he did get a Dr. Boom, right? But
I
what
just
is
feel
it-
like because turn 10's open, you've seen Murlocs, and he's only on 17. Like maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I've not done the Murloc math, but maybe it doesn't matter who was dead from 19 or 17. But I'm just interesting that like he tapped when he could have probably. I mean, well, could he have squeezed much more in? Maybe not.
I don't think he should trade the Wally. They will revive anyways if the anything can happen will come, but probably the L does. Oh, he's trading both.
I think
Yeah,
at this
that's
point,
interesting.
this is interesting because at this point with Leroy, I thought you'd just push.
Yeah.
And you've seen lay on hands, so you just push, and then you have 10 damage from hand, potentially more if you know, like if you draw into maybe. I think we've only seen one abusive so far, so you know you can potentially even just squeeze a little bit more damage out of it.
Look at that! That
Oh.
is the perfect draw.
Yeah.
You clean up the entire board.
Double consecration.
Because you deal the 2 damage to the egg, you deal the 2 damage to the hunted creeper, you
Kill the
kill the
2/3.
first wave, right? You kill the first wave and then you finish up the Nerubian Spider with the True Silver Champion.
Yeah, this is actually pretty insane, and you still get the token, which is actually it's actually
Yeah, it
reasonable.
actually matters,
it's actually. You laugh, Lothar, but
No, that's just,
Yeah.
you know, kind of taunting you, but yeah.
I'm used to it, man. I'm used to it. But yeah, as we just tick away on the clock here, wants to hurry up to speed up this game. So now, like, every turn is scary, and we can look at Scruffy's face like, oh god, please, that one card in hand. I think this is just a pretty straightforward boom egg.
What
turn.
Crane is around 12 cards in his deck, right? So there's a lot of chances to draw the anything can happen next turn. And there are 2 war leaders in there, and at least 1 Blue Guild warrior. So that's
No
6
Murkai,
damage.
though, right?
No Mercury, and the not
Oh, and the tie
Oracle,
collar.
right? Tie collar,
Tie
yes,
collar,
yes.
yeah. Okay, so I'm just interested. Scruffy's probably just sat thinking here, but I don't think live tap is ever an option when you have this play. Like, this sets up, you know, like lethal next turn. Oh, he's already well played. He thinks he has it.
No. He shouldn't.
Oh,
wait.
oh, what does
that
this
means?
do?
No. Then he won't have lethal.
Is he trying to do this to the egg? Do you think?
I'm really not sure.
'Cause if he does
Probably
it to the egg,
bomb.
he wants 4 damage, right?
Did he count the Murlocs and then he knows that it's like exactly 12 from the anything can happen?
That was interesting. I thought if he'd done it on the egg, it would make a bit more sense because then he has 4 more power on the board for the next turn with Leroy as well. So that's already 10. But the bomb, I mean, he really wanted to snipe that one. Man.
I'm not sure which Murloc died this game or not. This is why.
Nobody knows anymore. Crane, what are you doing to us?
Oh, this game.
And that's almost game.
Oh, is this bomb talk?
Wow. So the PO might have cost him the game
Yeah.
and the entire match.
Yeah, I really, I'd be amazed unless he tells us later where like, yeah, you know, with the Murloc math, like that 1/1.
Maybe that was exactly 12.
Yeah,
but,
maybe. Like I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know.
Let's see.
That's the only reason we can think, right? There's no other way you'd be too bothered about a 1/1.
Yeah, that was the only reason to do that.
Oh!
Wow. Wait.
Use the knife
Use
juggler
knife juggler
Yeah,
first.
knife
yes.
juggler. No,
Knife juggler first.
please. Wow, look at that gun. Look at that animation. That is a.
Did you
Is it-
see
that
the
is
ball?
about to kill a
did
Dr.
you see the
Boom.
ball that he's using to shoot?
Yeah.
It's like so huge.
No wonder he kills the big guys with it.
Oh.
Yeah, you go face, right? You just go face.
You should use knife juggler to lower the chance of the bombs to hit your face
Yep.
Yeah.
with the second.
What's the
shoot over.
reason not to play juggler?
Wow, that's actually huge too. Because now we can set up a defensive board against the situation. You can kill the big game hunter.
And
Pray
don't
you
hit
don't
the
hit the egg.
Please.
Oh, this game is way too
Oh my
close.
god. Oh, he's just
Oh,
gonna
he's
go.
not killing the
Okay.
big
So he's
game
not even
hunter?
risking it. He's not.
Well,
well, it is
he
a
doesn't
risk.
know there's a
Yeah,
Leroy
yeah.
Jenkins, right? He is on playing around Doomguard.
Oh my god. Double juggler Leroy. Go.
Oh.
Oh, this is. Do you have to trade into the Belcher then go for the double juggler?
Let's think. Ooh, the tap.
Oh my god. This guy's brave.
Trade first, I believe,
Why trade first?
with the Dr. Boom.
So the juggles hit the 1/2 potentially as opposed to the Belcher. I suppose one juggle's okay, right? Because then you trade the 4-2 in.
And then your knife juggler dies.
use the knife juggler now and see what's happening. But yeah, I would do like that.
Yeah.
And then attack with the big game hunter as well into the 1-2.
Yeah. Oh my god, this is tense. You play the Sea Giant before the juggle, right? Because you want the bombs to hit, not phase.
Don't you play... Nah, I was thinking about... Nah, you can play the Leroy.
No, I think you just juggle Sea Giant, right?
Yeah, I believe
Whoa.
CJ
Quick.
first.
Quick! Oh!
Oh! That's the best possible outcome.
Oh, and only for
my
one!
God.
Come on.
Oh my... Anything?
Equality, that's not it.
That's just game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's like 15 damage from 2 minions
Yeah.
on board, so...
Alright, I was just double checking. Wow, what a game.
Wow, that was close.
Need to recover after that one.
That was close. There were so many outs, too. Like, additional Truce of the Champion, 2, anything can happen. And then I'm thinking about other options. I was looking for other options.
The thing is as well, like Crane didn't have very many cards left, right? So,
Yeah.
so the odds on drawing them were quite high. But yeah, I mean, wow, what a game. But also bear in mind that without the interesting PO play, I'll say on the Boombot, that would have actually ended a bit earlier, right? Because
Yeah.
it would have Leroy
It would
power
be-
overwhelming and then just push for the extra damage with the boom. So
But he didn't show the Leroy.
yeah, that's actually pretty big.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
So Crane doesn't have a slightest idea of what can happen next
And then we see
game,
the
right?
MVP, the Tide Caller, come into hand.
If he plays the Leroy, that means he plays an Cancel Mechanic too, I would say.
Well, that's what's getting really strange now. So there was very like defined lines between the curve out at 5 zoo and then this new like fairly newish Sea Giant zoo with the Enhancer Mechano and the Leroy. But now what I've been seeing is like hybrids of those two decks because the Sea Giant doesn't normally play Doom Guards. But then I think we saw someone play earlier today that had Sea Giants and Doom Guards in the deck. So there really can just be a mix of anything. And like some aren't playing Leroy, some are. Whereas Leroy is in the standard Sea Giant list. So I think we've seen like some hybrids. So there's always a chance that Leroy isn't expected or Enhancer Mechano might not be in there. Because I think a lot of players feel the way you do, Lothar, in that they don't really like the card too much because it just doesn't often have a big enough impact when the game's like you battling for the
I would
game.
rather have Gormok than a Cancel Mechano.
Yeah.
Because if you have like when you play Gormok, you probably will use your Hunted Creepers, Implosion, or Imp Gang Boss to get more minions to get the effect from the Gormok. But when you want to play Encancer Mechano, you want the minions to be available to attack this turn, and usually you don't want them to have one attack. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of different styles about the zoo. Like, there's some people here, like Thais, who's playing Doomguard and Sea Giant.
Yeah.
Then I only play Sea Giants, and yeah, like we can see, there's a lot of unexpected stuff, like Leroy Jenkins. So
Yeah, I really I really like the flexibility in decks like that. The way Zoo has so many different slight variations. Same with Reno Lock. There's especially in a Reno deck, there's so much room for slight card changes. But this is actually going down to the wire now. So Crane versus Scruffy, Warlock versus Rogue. Who do you think's favored here?
yeah, like Crane's Rogue deck, it really surprised me he bring it. I know that we talked about it, but I believe he got a chance. But Scruffy can have so much stuff we won't expect, like the Leroy Jenkins, and we also saw Kazan last game. So
Yeah, is it like anything crazy about the Rogue deck, or is it fairly standard?
I believe it's pretty standard.
Okay, we see the oil, so
he has the coin. That's a huge
which
deal.
is actually it was a really big bonus actually.
There's also a Flame Imp in the Sea Giant Zoo. That's not that normally.
Okay, and although speaking of the Flame Imp, really good one drop for the Zoo, getting a quick start there, but Crane does have the answer in the form of a pretty reasonable backstab.
That's like the dream to have
Is
against
that just
Zoo.
like the best opening full stop, having backstab and then coin SI?
There's only Deadly Poison missing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's looking really good for Crane.
But it doesn't mean he won the game.
No,
So
of course.
Let's see,
see how
the
it
Zoo
goes.
hand is pretty good as well, like a 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop.
Yeah. Leroy's probably going to just let the hand down a little bit by turning up early to the party there. But yeah, not too bad. And Dr. Boom, another card that might be a little bit, required a little bit late. Oh, and these aren't really the best cards you could hope from the Discovery either.
But I believe taking Multicoil was for sure the best thing, since there will come some minion with 3 health, and the Imp Game Boss has 2
Yeah,
damage.
just finished. Yeah. So now we just see the coin SI, not too much of a surprise, really nice tempo swing, something that Rogue can do very well. The very swift answer from Scruffy with the Imp Gang boss. These guys are playing really quick.
Yeah.
I mean, the plays are pretty straightforward, to be honest, but still, like, you know, I think a lot of players like to take time because they have the time. So, you know, why not just like chill out a bit, you know, for every turn and just you know, just go slowly. But these guys definitely know what they want, probably feeling a bit tense with this being the be-all and end-all of the set.
Probably Crane knows that making quick decisions will affect his opponent to make quick decisions also. And Crane feels more comfortable on a broadcast tournament, so it might affect Scruffy to, you know, maybe make a mistake.
Yeah.
That's actually a valid tactic in other card games.
Yeah.
When you
Just
push
like
the pace of the
mentally
game,
pressure someone, yeah.
you mentally push him to your pace, your own
Yeah.
pace. So he tries to match it up to the way of your way of playing the game.
So I actually on this turn really like just hero power and go face.
Why
Or,
not?
you know,
Why not Sap?
Yeah, he
Be-
really. I
well,
think
yeah, I was just looking at Valid Teacher prep sap next turn.
Yeah, you will still have some like eviscerate top deck next turn.
Oh, okay. Well, you
Good
definitely
tactic.
better at the game than I am. You're like, no, it's fine. I will
Yeah,
just draw what
watch.
I need.
Just watch.
Okay.
Look at that.
Okay.
Eviscerate top deck. Easy peasy. Well, actually,
Close.
that's not that bad, but could have been better.
Yeah. So now, like the Valid Teacher will could go down, but now it just
Yeah.
feels like, yeah, it's too good not to play, right?
Wild
And you just
Teacher
continue with
face.
the pressure, yeah. With 5 health as well, it's kind of awkward to deal with. You're not as vulnerable to abusive from the Imp Gang boss, abusive sergeant, and like requires something like double abusive or like a PO, in which you're pretty okay a PO going on to an Imp Gang boss. Oh, he's gonna go for the jug. Oh, he has the coil as well, actually.
Yeah.
This is sick.
Oh, he actually got
He's
it.
kind of upset, probably. He's like, oh, I kind of wanted to coil that.
Wow. That's sick. Yeah.
He should probably light up.
Yeah.
He will. But there's nothing else to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's getting slightly low on health on 19, but because he's in such a commanding, you know, lead on the board, then you can afford to do that because the rogue's gonna obviously have to start dealing with the board
Prep.
itself.
Yeah, remember the prep.
Oh
That was
yeah,
important.
yeah. He definitely wants to get this Van Cleef out.
Well, he committed to the play, right? So. 6/6
now
minion.
it's actually all looking reasonable, at least for Crane, when he can go into Lotheb and then Dr. Boom the next turn. Slightly off curve with Lotheb, but definitely not bad follow-up considering, you know, the board state at the moment.
Yeah, I believe it's doing pretty good for Crane. Let's see. 3 down.
No, don't play the Direwolf Alpha right now. I think it's a mistake because your opponent will probably ignore the 1/1s because you're aware that they will not trade with the 6/6, right? Or maybe not.
I think he needs to risk it since it's looking so bad for him right now. But
I'm not sure about it. But
oh, he's trading.
oh wow.
This is kind of maybe inadvertently played around Gormok here as well. 'Cause if no, I'm being serious. If he
Yeah.
left it up, Gormok would have been really good because then it's just the Gormok and then 1 imp from
That's
the Direwolf
true,
both to
yeah.
trade into the Van Cleef. So that could have been really good. But you know what? When you can't Gormok, Boom's a pretty good
That was
fallback.
a ballsy play though. Dr. Boom just on a 11 damage rogue
Yeah.
board.
But remember that Crane doesn't know that he's playing Leroy.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
So
and
he
there
will
is
make
again-
calculations for Doomguard with PO, and that's 9 damage, an example, right? So 9 damage. Wow.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
9,
Complete ultimate
12.
chicken here.
18, 22 damage, right? Yep.
It looks like
That's
it. Yeah,
it.
wow.
Even more. No, wait. It's 22.
And look at that board to end the game on. It's not often you see 14 minions on a board.
He did count the Doomguard, which was 1 off. But Leroy Jenkins pushed it to the limits and finished after a perfect lethal 22 damage.
Wow.
Well, that was unexpected for Crane. I'm sure of that he didn't think about the Leroy. And that was actually important because I'm sure that he would have changed his mind this turn about trading with the Lotheb if the Leroy Jenkins would have been popped last game,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
then he's like, okay, so there's Leroy.
Yeah, so
that's
it's
6
something
attack.
you count, right?
Yeah.
If you know it's there, 100%.
Exactly. So I guess that was a huge factor, right?
Yeah, I
In the
mean,
deciding game.
yeah, and the set overall, Like the whole set was just nuts. Like it was really crazy. From the Patron Warrior nearly beating nearly beating the thingy, and the Patron Warrior nearly beating the Control Warrior as well. Like you know, and then Murloc Paladin being a
But
deck.
we have Scruffy here. Congrats, man! You advanced to the top 8, so you got $1,000 already. 2 points for the HCT, which is awesome.
That's cool.
So I see you're very happy. So
I didn't deserve the last game. I guess it was like, if he went face like he set up little, yeah, sure, but I don't know. I was like, he's just gonna play oil and it's over.
But that was a play to win, and we talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
If your chances are slim, you go for the only play that can win you the game, and that was the correct.
Yeah, I
correct
tried.
one. Yeah. Also, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The game against Paladin, when you PO'd the bomb.
Yeah, I was like, if he had one card, he didn't play like I don't know 2-3 turns, and he played 2 warriors and 2 war leaders, right? So it was
so those 12.
12 plus the dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, yeah, it will be lethal if I didn't play the PO, but if I hit the dude and he had the anything, it was like one off, and it was my only chance, I guess.
Yeah, that was
It
our
wasn't
assumption.
the play to win, but yeah.
Yeah, but you had the board anyway, and that was the only way you can lose practically the game, right? So it was on the edge of a knife, you can say. So
yeah.
Also, were you very surprised to see the Murloc Paladin?
Yeah.
I don't think we weren't expecting it.
I was like, now I have warrior and I get crushed by secret paladin, and this was even worse, I guess. But yeah, it was close. The game versus the Murloc paladin with warrior was like 1 turn, and then he got to the legendary Murlocs, and it was exactly lethal, right?
Yeah, he was sitting on it for a long time with the second anything can happen.
Of course. Like, I was thinking about clearing the board, and I realized that he will get like 7 Murlocs. Yeah. So I tried to outlast the game as long as it was possible.
Well, you did good. You advanced to the top 8, and now you'll wait for the next opponent, right? Or you already know him?
I mean, it's Ziane Druid.
Oh yeah, right. It's Jan Druid, so the Polish player. Okay, good.
Okay.
Nice. No, it was nice to have you here, and congrats again. Now we can watch the games and chill and prepare mentally for the next stage. You can also change the deck list, right?
Yeah, I can. I would think about it this evening.
Cool.
Bring in Murloc Paladin.
No, not really. Not really.
Any other questions?
Tesson?
Yeah, one question. There's a lot of different Zoo decks here. Why Leroy?
I saw it at American Championship. Chucky played this version. I mean, he had Enhancer Meccano, and I play Gormok. Because I just feel like I'm not lucky for the Wind Furies, and it's just like 4 damage is always 4 damage, yeah. But it's the Chucky's version with Leroy and double C Giant.
Okay.
And also the importance of in the not your last game, the one before, where you had Leroy and you didn't actually end up playing it, and then it actually worked out having the Leroy and that slightly extra damage and maybe a bit of a surprise.
He didn't know, right?
Exactly, yeah. So that was really huge. So well played and congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll be going to a short break to prepare for the next match, and we have 2 matches left today, right? We have done 6.
Say yes.
I mean,
we've got 2 matches left.
It's a long day.
Yeah, look, the tracker in the bottom then said like longest game 37 turns was the one in that set. So we've put in some work, guys. So good job testing as well.
Yeah.
Casting, that was the first cast I believe you've done.
Yeah, first
So
time.
good job.
Yeah,
Man.
good job, man. And we'll be going to a short break, so don't go anywhere. More Hearthstone in a few minutes.